there, it's Heather. I'm just setting up my home gym for my physical therapy, and just thought I would set up an Instagram live. I rarely ever do a live. I honestly can't remember the last time I did a live, but I don't really enjoy doing reels. I feel like they're not very authentic, and so instead of doing a reel, I just decided I would just hop on and do my physical therapy live. And so I may just start chatting, and also if you have any questions about health coaching, nutrition, sports performance, you can hop in there. I will tell you I don't have my glasses on, so I'm going to have to come over there and really take a look at that phone if you actually have a question. But so I am doing my physical therapy right now for my right ankle, but I've found that the exercises that I've been provided with are so helpful that I'm just doing them for both sides, because that makes sense, right? I've really been strengthening the tibialis area and found that dorsiflexion comes much more naturally in just walking. And I think that makes a lot of sense, that a lot of us, whether we're swimmers, cyclists, that we're not spending enough time strengthening to lift the toes in the action that they need to be. And so I'm doing both sides, and I've actually noticed an enhancement, muscle development. That's like really cool, because that looks amazing when you're wearing shorts, skirts, dresses, and just in general. So right now I usually just start my physical therapy both sides with, Jerry, you gotta stay inside, buddy. Jerry, come on, inside. I have a pretty strong band. This would not work with a just like a physical therapy band. And I have it all the way down at the joint, because I'm gonna grab my dog and then I'm gonna keep talking. Get back in there. Good boy. Okay, so the assigned exercise from the physical therapist is because my bones were broken here and here. I do not have any pain, zero pain. The only pain that I have is across the cartilage line, because as my doctor, Dr. Joy English at University Hospital, explained to me that not only do your bones break, but your cartilage also breaks. And so that is what I'm dealing with, is I still experience pain in this cartilage area. So what I'm doing with this band, and it's pretty cool, I don't feel it, the sensation of the crunching as much as I used to, but if let's see if I step, I don't want to step all the way out of the screen. There we go. I get a lot of resistance on here, and then I just push all the way in. Here we go. I push all the way in to the ankle, and I'm not going to describe this because I'm not the physical therapist. I'm just doing what they told me to do, but I'm telling you it's working, and I'm going to keep doing it. I broke my ankle in December, and I'm not running. I'm not jumping. I'm doing some very light plyometrics, but I'm not doing box jumps. I'm still not there yet. It's a little bit disappointing, but evidently it was a lot more severe than we knew. I mean, when it was broken, when I was in Indian Wells, I didn't even know it was broken, and I walked across a few parking lots and did all kinds of shit before I actually got to see a doctor. So who knows? But that's the end of that exercise. I've done it enough. So now I'm going to move on. Let's adjust this so that possibly, I never know where I'm going to end up with the stool, but I think this is going to be good. I'm seated on the stool, and I'm also going to move my band. So for this one, when I started physical therapy, I was on a really light band for these next exercises. But now I've just sort of advanced to where I use the same resistance for all of these exercises now. But if I had a lighter band close by, I could just move further out. But I sort of like the challenge. So I think you can see my feet. This is the side that we're working on that was broken, the right side. So I have the band so that it's not torquing my ankle, that I'm staying in the same plane as I'm just sliding my foot across the floor. Then my heel is staying down and I'm just sliding it outward. So again, really working on providing a lot of strength to the tibialis area, and then also just movement through that cartilage. And I don't have any pain doing these. I don't have any pain doing any of it, honestly. It's just pushing that cartilage back sometimes that I feel it. Let me just make sure the dogs are good. Okay, if you're live, I don't know who's here, but my garage door is open and I live with an alley back there, so I just have to make sure the dogs aren't going back there. Okay, so I'm gonna do a couple more reps here. And let me see, does anybody, I'm gonna put this closer to my face for a second. Does anybody have any questions about like nutrition or even personal training, strength training? So if you don't know me very well at all, or if you do know me, because I don't really talk about what I used to do, because I don't do those things anymore. But I have 25 years experience as a NSCA strength and conditioning coach. And I started out as a personal trainer at Gold's Gym in my 20s. And I don't do any of that anymore. But I do build strength plans for cyclists and, of course, triathletes. I'm just saying cyclists. And I love that. I love longevity. That's really sort of my focus right now. And so I think as I am getting on and doing more live like this, I'd like to talk about that space in a responsible way, because I believe in strength training. I believe in quality sleep. I believe in reducing your stress. I've seen how my body can age when I introduce a lot of stress and take away the things that are healthy for me, like sleep and strength training. And I've seen my body get younger when I get right. I mean, 2017, I think I look 10 years older than I do right now. I did 2 Ironmans, 2 half Ironmans. I was starting Peak State Fit, which we officially started in 2018. I was under so much stress. I was pre-menopause, in perimenopause. Now I'm post-menopause. And I look back and I'm like, wow, my body was looking older, feeling older, going up and down stairs even. My joints were hurting. And I've just introduced a ton of things to not ever go back that direction. I do have a dog out here. Let's go get her. Okay. Murphy, get back inside. I think we've got to close the garage door now. Okay. Dog's inside, and I'm going to close the garage door. So I think that's about all the physical therapy I can take. Let's do some strength training. If you're still here, I think this is my plan today. Yesterday, I did some deadlifts and rear foot elevated split squats. And then, there we are. And today, I think that I'm going to do some squats. I may do some squats. I have a stone that I like that's about 35 pounds. So I may start with front squats with the stone and then move on to traditional squats with the Olympic bar. So let's go. I feel pretty warm. You know, I always recommend a good warm up when you're, hey, I thought I was over there. So I'm going to grab this stone and then I'm going to come back to this spot. I promise not to stand 3 feet away like I just did. Okay, the stone's on the ground. Oh, you can even see it, look. This is an important, so if you weren't here when I started the live, let me tell you, I started this thing because I don't enjoy making reels, but I enjoy the community that I can form on Instagram. And I almost made a reel about what I'm about to talk about right now last week. And I just didn't because I hate making reels. So what I'm about to talk about is starting an exercise. So when I was training to be a personal trainer, one of my very first mentors, I went to see live in New York City and spent a weekend there rather than just like some online certification. And I remember him teaching us that most people get injured in the gym when they begin an exercise, entering an exercise, or exiting an exercise. And I believe that 100%. So I'm about to pick up this heavy stone to do a front squat. But I see a lot of people coming over here and getting all crazy to lift something heavy and then potentially throwing their back out before they ever fucking start. So let's go. I'm in an athletic stance. My hips are squared. My abdominal wall is pulled in. I'm breathing. I'm engaged. I'm going to come down and get it up. Oh, did you hear my stomach? Okay, pull everything in. Take a deep inhale. Lock it in. This is my last one, so I'm coming down just as safely as I entered. And I'm going to breathe. I'm going to find my drink. Okay, I gotta find my drink. I have actual water somewhere. This will do. Okay, so I do take rest periods, especially in the early stages of my workout when I'm not quite warmed up, but I may do something else. I'm not just looking at Instagram when I'm resting. So one thing I like to do in my rest is just a dead hang. Just let my body elongate. Still focusing 100% on my breathing and not just the hang, because I don't want to end up being more tired than when I started. We bought this squat rack from somebody down near Point of the Valley. Got really lucky. Some guy has a home gym. Okay, I'm going in round 2. I feel good with this. And obviously I'm using my stone, so it's not like I'm going to go up or down and wait. But these are my warm-ups for my Olympic bar lifts. Switch around for you. 2 more. Coming down. Okay. And resting and breathing. How you doing? Who's here? Okay. Cool. Hey Titan, are you going to the gym today? I hope so. It's the family way of life, going to the gym. Everybody in the family goes to the gym. The daughters, the boyfriends, the husband, even if it's right here in the garage. Okay, I'm feeling good. I think I'm gonna rest another 30 seconds. I'm gonna go in for 2 more sets here. Probably in between this next set, I'm gonna start setting up my bar here. I'm gonna come down a little bit. Any decent squat rack, you're gonna be able to adjust on the fly very easily. And I just made that small adjustment for myself so that when I go in between this next set, we're ready to go. Murphy, did you get in the sprinkler? Okay, here we go. I'm not trying to show my butt, by the way, on this last set. I am going to face away. I want you to observe that any exercise is a full body exercise, and I want you to see how controlled I am through my whole body. And that was it for that. I do enjoy my whole workout barefoot. If I'm at the gym, I will take my shoes off for this kind of work and stay in my area, clean all my stuff at the public gym, put my shoes back on, and then go use the rest of the machines. I'm not a freak about it, but I do think that lifting with a bare foot, especially, I can't tell you how much I feel that since I broke this ankle, it's like learning to walk again, literally, because I had some patterns that I identified through walking again for the first time, lifting again for the first time, hinging again for the first time. And I identified some things that I said, you know what? That's the only thing that I'm going to take away from this experience of breaking my ankle that is helpful, is that I'm going to, now I'm aware of those patterns and I can change them, and I have. Lifting with bare feet helps me stay, like I can feel Dr. Eric Goodman, foundation training guy, he talks about this, triangle of your foot. So you should feel when you're exercising, cycling, running, walking, living, you should feel these 3 points of contact. And if you don't, you need to think about your feet more. Talk to somebody else about your feet. Last set. Okay, that was my last set. It was a little bit faster because I just wanted to create a little bit of a metabolic effect before I go into my other lifts. Okay. We used to have a bunch of stuff up in this gym. And it may sort of hard to move these things around. It's a lot easier. Okay, so what am I doing, class? I'm changing from one exercise to another, but that's basically entering and exiting. So we want to think about safety. I don't want to just willy-nilly this 45-pound bar twisting my spine like spaghetti. So I'm going to lift appropriately and bring it up here. And lesson number 2, class. When we are working to build a progression in weight, we start with no weight. If I were with you today and I was teaching you how to do this exercise, we wouldn't add any weight at all today. And we would just work on the pattern. We would learn the pattern, and that's all. Because your body doesn't know this pattern if it's never done it before. And so just the muscles and everything having to align to figure the pattern out and come back to it the next day or the next session, that's enough, honestly. But today I start with the bar, and so what we do is same thing as with the front squat. I'm going to get the weight on my back by coming into the position, come off the bar, step away, get into an athletic stance, square the hips, pull the core in, lift my chest, breathe, and then squat. Okay, here we go. You do have these little guides to see if you're in the right place sometimes if you need it. And I sort of bounce around just to make sure everything feels stable. I can take a little wider. Alright, I'm a little bit frustrated. I was only at 8 reps. I'm a little bit frustrated with how that was feeling, so I'm going to stop for just a second and I'm going to change something up. And also, if I do this, you wouldn't be able to see me squat better. Okay. How's it going? Moving some kettlebells out of the way. I wish you knew what you looked like to me because you're on a tripod. Okay, so I am going to elevate my heels. I use, this is the only thing I use this for. This is a balance board that has one of those things go underneath it. Yeah, this is what I use it for. Okay. Yep. So it's a 1/4 inch probably. And I just want my heels up just a touch so that I can get better engagement. There's nothing to be scared of. You know that board's there. Oh, that's so much better. And 10 is what I'm going for. Okay, so, wow, that feels really good with that little bit of a lift. So what that did for me is I noticed I was having a shift in my hips, and it just allowed me to get everything upright more, get my hips centered more, rather than feeling like I was being pulled back. Most people benefit from something like this, whether they realize it or not. Rogue has different degree wedges that in some athletic-minded gyms you'll see, which is pretty cool. Okay, I'm gonna add just a little bit of weight. I'm not going heavy with anything these days because I'm still working on, again, I don't know who's here, but we started this live several minutes ago when I was doing physical therapy here in the garage, talking about my cartilage across the top of my ankle. And that is something I'm working on. So it's not my goal to lift super heavy right now. So I have 10 pounds on each side. And you know what? I just did anybody see that? Okay, these guys, let's talk about this for a second. Because I can't tell you how annoyed I get when I see, I don't really care what you do on your own. If you know better, you take yourself at your own risk. But if you are a trainer and you are working with somebody else and you are not protecting the scene by locking these bad boy weights in, shame on you. I even see personal trainers post things on their Instagram pages, local personal trainers, by the way, and shame on them. So anyway, here we go, round 2. Got weight on. Wow, I even like using this board because I can lock my, do you anybody see that? I can lock my heel right in that side nugget right there on this balance board. That my back popped in the middle, but you know, it didn't hurt. It just snap, crackle, pop of a 50-year-old. No big deal. So that's one set of my, we would call that my main set. Let's see who's here. Hey Lauren. So yeah, we're talking about longevity, and I was also talking about that I just don't like making reels, but I do want to engage with my community, and so I'm going to begin making more lives during my workouts and talking about longevity and nutrition, health, sleep, controlling your stress, all of those things. So if you have a question, drop it in. I'll try to see it. And if you don't, just hang out. And if you're inspired, maybe you send me a DM or an email and we talk. I didn't do any one-on-one health coaching for a couple of years because I've just been focused on growing our business responsibly. And now I've just sort of reached a little pivot where I've had a couple of people reach out to me asking me if I'm still doing health coaching. And I'm like, I think that I don't want to ever go back to like the online, I'm going to program your stuff for you and tell you what to eat. And like, I don't want to do that. I want relationships more. And so people in my community that either want to drop in for a session with me or do more consultation. So I feel like those help people the most. When we sit down for 2 hours and we talk to each other about your life, and then I come away from that usually and then develop a specific plan based off of the pillars that we've already talked about, which is what you're putting in your body, what you're doing with your body, how your body is recovering sleep, and we'll say the tornado, the stress, how we control the tornado. I've got another set to do. Let's do this. Coming back to my board. I know it's there again. Nothing to be scared of. Just stepping backwards is all. And that's 10. Okay. Got one more set here. I'm feeling good. I'm not going to change the weight, by the way. Maybe in another few weeks, but for what I'm doing right now and working on things with my ankle, that's good. Yeah, so I'm just going to hang out here, 20 pounds on a 45-pound bar. One more set. And then, hey, what should I do next? I think that I might do a couple of pull-ups after this. I feel like after so much compression of the squat, it feels really natural for me to want to hop in with, I'm at the gym, I might do a lat pull down after a squat just to get things pulled out. But here, I'm going to just do a couple of pull-ups after this next set. I'm going to talk a tiny bit about nutrition because I'm about to do one of these ketones, and I'm actually still fasted right now. It's not super intentional. Usually, it's not intentional. Let's back that way up. I do not intentionally fast. I do not ever monitor the number of hours or time between my food at night, except in one specific case, and I'm going to tell you about that. But usually I take in calories. So my fresh juice, it's all liquid calories, because I freshly juice oranges, carrots, ginger, turmeric, melons, and I have a big glass of that. I mean, it's probably 300 calories. And then I take my creatine and all my supplements that are best with non-fatty foods. And that's right when I wake up. That's even most mornings before coffee, because I want to introduce all those healthy things before coffee even. And that time of day, I'm hopping on my vibration plate, and for 10 minutes, while I'm on the vibration plate, I'm dry brushing. Okay, here we go, set 4. And 10, okay. Ooh. All right, I come down. I'm going to transition the weight off this bar. So mornings I'm on the vibration plate, dry brushing, and then sometimes heating the sauna. Just depends on how much time I have. But I don't want to do any of that with food. And then I sort of reach a point where I'm on the go. I always go to Peak State Fit and Cycle Cafe first thing in the morning, and I have to check on the property, water the plants, And I just don't feel like eating. It's just, I don't know, such a pain at that point in the day. And so then, depending on what I'm doing, sometimes I'm driving to my swim then after I go check on the Peak State Fit and all that. And sometimes I'll eat on my way to the swim, but really, no, I'm sort of probably lying to you right now. I always have food with me, but usually I eat right when I finish my swim. It's the truth. And also right when I finish my workout. So that's why I just did that ketone, is because that's going to help me keep going with high energy without feeling the first hint of hypoglycemia, because I need to finish my workout and then I'll go eat. Let's make sure my camera's still lined up good. Okay, and I said I was going to hang, so I can hang here and talk to you guys this way. Let's talk about eating again, because 5 nights of the week, basically Monday through Friday, I am making sure that I allow a 2-hour window of time after my last meal, which I try to have finished at 7 p.m. Before bedtime, because I do some longevity protocols that require me to have a fairly empty stomach. So that's also a reasoning for, that's the only time that I'm very conscious of when I'm eating, is what I should say. Because I said I never intentionally fast, which is true, but I always intentionally think about that 2-hour window so that I can do my longevity protocols before going to bed. Some of those protocols, I mean, they're all supplements. Some of them are just easy peasy, like magnesium and zinc, and then some other research longevity protocols that I'm happy to talk about offline if you want to message me. Okay, so those squats are done. I'm not finished with my workout. I think I'm going to move on to some hamstring curls, but I can take my gloves off. And I want to show you my gloves. They have dogs on them. Murphy. And I'm just going to do some hamstring pull-ins now. I'm just going to set my ball up over here. Come on, baby. Oh, can you guys see me? I don't know. Oh, yeah, there I am. Okay, let's do these. So I'm really grounded. I'm actually, girls, take your ponytails out. Don't let your ponytail dictate your spine. If you let your goddamn ponytail dictate the position of your spine, shame on you. Just like shame on those personal trainers that aren't protecting their clients. Okay, so I took my ponytail out. I feel better about that. If the ball starts to get away from you, don't worry about it. Just get it back. And use your heels and get it back. It's part of the work. Okay, I'm going to flip. I'm going to get this portion of my workout. It's going to be a little bit more metabolic because I'm not worried about, I don't have a limit bar on my back for one thing. And so I'm just going to make this a little bit more metabolic and add in some core work too. Just a little bit of a push-up, pull in, and pike. Push up, pull in, pike, push up, pull in, pike, push up, pull in, pike, step off. Okay. And that's the end of my set. So I'm going to rest right now. That is very metabolic. So I didn't rest after the hamstring, but I did rest now. Okay, I want to see who's here again. All right. Awesome. Well, I'm going to keep going with this workout. I think that at this point in time, I'm going to let you go. So I am going to do this more frequently. I think this is long enough for today. It feels good, but I am conscious that I have the camera on. So I don't want to say anything weird, do anything weird, have anything weird happen for the whole world to see. Because so far I don't think that happened. So, see you another day.